And we kick off this evening with a look at the cinema.
I'm not a complicated man. I like cinema.
It's beautiful, beautiful cinema.
Cinema history come to life.
I found my solace in the small cinema I went to every Thursday night.
I'm a professor of cinema.
I go to the cinema for the stories.
There was no competition between the cinema and seminar.
I mean, it's not within the realm of conventional cinema.
And now,
here's Pace and Johnson.
the cinema review.
Wow, super professional. Forgot to turn my camera on. Welcome, everybody. It is November 17th, 7 EST, and thank you for joining me for another episode of Cinemaster's Reviews. We have an exciting show this week. We're reviewing Now You See Me, Now You Don't, the third Now You See Me film, as well as The Running Man, the remake of the 80s film from Edgar Wright. I say we jump right into the show this week, starting with the movie I'm probably going to have a slightly less to say about, but I'm so excited to talk about it. Now You See Me, Now You Don't. This is the third film in the Now You See Me franchise. Why the second one wasn't called Now You See Me, Now You Don't, and why the third one wasn't called Now You Three Me, I don't know, but at least they're finally doing Now You See Me, Now You Don't. Once again, we are following the four horsemen magicians, the four horsemen that Daniel Atlas, played by Jesse Eisenberg, Henley Reeves, played by Isla Fisher, Merritt McKinney, played by Woody Harrelson, and Jack Wilder, played by Dave Franco. We open up on Daniel Atlas, played by Jesse Eisenberg, and he has met a new group of magicians that are calling themselves the New Horsemen, essentially. They have essentially been inspired by the original Horsemen of Magicians of using their magic and illusion techniques to essentially rob big tech and big rich corporations to essentially give back to the people that they have stolen from. Daniel takes a liking to them and decides to hire them to do another mission with him because he's been contacted by the Eye. The Eye is essentially the unknowing voice in all of these franchises that commands the Horsemen to do missions, and he hires them to help them pull off a heist on this diamond company CEO, played by Rosamund Pike, in order to get the Heart Diamond, as they say, and to expose Rosamund Pike's character. I know I wrote it down. Veronica Vanderberg, of the crimes that she has committed. I actually watched the first Now You See Me film, for the first time this week, and I will admit, it's very stupid. It's very light entertainment. If you go into these movies thinking you are going to be seeing a realistic breakdown of how magic and illusions work, and how they can and how these really smart magicians can use these techniques to fool all these unsuspecting witnesses in order to steal from them, you're not going to be getting that. The magicians in these films are essentially like superheroes in a way, with the like impossible illusions that they can enact. But for what they are, I think these are really, really fun movies. I think they work as sort of like the Fast and Furious type films of you're watching these really, really ridiculous characters just use their really ridiculous abilities to pull off these really cool heists. And for what they are, I think they're really fun. I think the whole cast is really, really good. I know Isla Fisher didn't return for Now You See Me 2. I believe she was replaced by Lizzie Kaplan, but for Now You See Me, she's back in this one, so that's really, really exciting. But yeah, I will admit, for what this movie is, for a third entry in this franchise, granted I have not seen the second one, I hear that one isn't that great. I think this is enough. I think this is a great example of a movie that just sort of gives you what you want in a way. Once again, you have all four magicians back. You have this new crop of magicians played by Dominic Sessa from The Holdovers, Ariana Greenblatt from Barbie, and Justice Smith from I Saw the TV Glow and Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. And watching these two generations of magicians clash and like how they treat magic. Obviously, Atlas is the one that clashes with Dominic Sessa's character the most, mainly because he just thinks that the way Dominic Sessa does it and how he is just so overblown and show offish. He sees a lot of himself in He sees a lot of himself in Dominic Sessa, but he doesn't want to admit it because he admits that they are very, very aggravating. So watching them play off each other is really fun. I think the best new cast member is Justice Smith as the magic obsessed Charlie. Watching him like fanboy out over all of these out over all of these like famous magicians in this world. Ooh, got some comments. Breezy says hi. Portilla79 says hi, bro. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Yeah, I do think that is really, really fun. Justice Smith is a big highlight. Justice Smith is just one of those actors that I just really love because he's able to play like meek and nervous really, really well, but he's also able to play someone that has like a lot of layers underneath very well. Very well, and the movie gives him a lot of really, really fun things to do. Honestly, like it just feels really fun watching another one of these movies after like almost 10 years and just see like, hey, we're not trying to reinvent the wheel by any means. We're just going to give you another Now You See Me movie watching these magicians pull off these cool heists. And for what you get, it's really, really fun. There's a scene towards the middle of this film where they are in some European country where they're trying to steal Veronica's diamond for the first time. And if you've seen the trailers, this is where Jack, Henley, and Merrick are introduced back in the film. I will admit the scene where the returning horsemen are introduced, they're kind of introduced a little nonchalantly, just like Atlas and the 3 new horsemen are in the middle of this mission. And then suddenly Dave Franco's Jack Wilder shows up and it's just like, oh, he's here. Like there's no amount of fanfare. And like on the one hand, I was sort of thinking like, oh, that's kind of annoying. They don't really treat their old characters with a bunch of respect. At the same time, I'm like, you know what? This is Now You See Me. I understand they're not treating it as like the biggest deal in the world. Let's just bring back these characters we all knew were going to be in this movie, and let's just have fun watching them all interact. And yeah, this is a movie that doesn't take itself seriously really at all, but it's just really here to just give you a nice, fun time. And for what it is, I think it was really, really solid. There aren't a ton of like set pieces in this film. You might think like, oh, this movie must feature characters just going on heist upon heist upon heist. Really, there are only like 3 major, like maybe like 3.5 major set pieces in the film, but I think all of them are fairly memorable, and a lot of movies just given a lot of focus to just watching these characters interact in a really fun way that just shows the old generation versus new generation of magicians are really cool things. Without spoiling anything, the movie does have callbacks to other elements of the franchise, not really in terms of like, oh, like you need to be like caught up on your franchise lore, but just like certain cast members return, certain cast members we understand why they aren't in this film. I won't say which ones to spoil it, but I think they were pleasant surprises for where the plot of the film goes. Rosamund Pike, I just got to talk about her. She plays the villain of the movie, Veronica, and Rosamund Pike is a British actress. She plays this like German villain, and she is absolutely going for it in the best way possible. She is loving every second of this, every second of the time she is on the screen. She is absolutely hamming it up. She's playing this villain that like doesn't start off as super villainous because like you slowly start to realize how villainous Veronica really is as the movie starts going on, specifically through like her history, through like certain things she might have done to certain members of her family or certain people that helped her family, and that is a lot of fun to watch. But just watching Rosamund Pike just play this villain and just have the absolute time of her life with it by just giving like the most hilarious German accent, and it's not like super cartoonish like that does sound annoying in a way. That sounds like it could take you out of the film, but I think she knows exactly the type of movie that they were making, and I think she really came up to the assignment in a really, really strong way. The final heist of the film is very fun. That is finally where you get all 7 of the characters that we've been following throughout the movie. We finally get to see them use all the magic to all of their skill sets correctly. There's a twist that the movie tries to introduce that I was initially rolling my eyes at. They add a little bit more context to that, so I did. So I will forget it a little, but I did think we were like starting to go to a little bit like are we really going here? Like my suspension of disbelief can only go so far. Thankfully, we didn't actually get to that angle. And another satisfying thing I think about this movie is it doesn't really end on a cliffhanger. It shows that like, hey, this team can go off and do other missions if they want to. depending on how this movie goes. But it's in no way trying to like sequel bait of like, oh, get ready for the next one, which I do definitely appreciate. Yeah, this is kind of a tough movie to talk about because, well, I don't think anything in this movie is like amazing, is like amazing in any way. It's also not a movie that I think does a ton wrong, so I definitely can't give it like a poor score by any mean. Not really going to be going super high on it though. If I were to rate this movie on a scale of 0 to 10 videotapes, 0 being absolutely awful, 10 being absolutely incredible, I am going to go with a. It's going to sound more harsh than it is, but I need to explain that. I'm going to go a 6 out of 10 videotapes. So it gets the passing grade. It is a decent film. Again, this movie doesn't really in any way reinvent the wheels. If you're not a fan of these movies, you're not going to suddenly hop on the train and enjoy this one. But I think for what it is, this is another solid Now You See Me film. And I find these movies enjoyable, so I'm going to be giving it an enjoyable rating. Again, if you enjoy this movie, you'll probably have fun with this film. If you're not a fan of these movies, stay away from it. It's in no way going to win you over. But yeah, I thought Now You See Me, Now You Don't was a pretty successful film for what it was going for. But honestly, we jump right into the second review of the weekend. Review of the week. The movie I was honestly a lot more excited for, that being The Running Man, directed by Edgar Wright. This is Edgar Wright's, I believe it is his 7th narrative feature. He did the Cornetto trilogy. He did Scott Pilgrim. He did Baby Driver, and he did Last Night in Soho. He's a director I really, really love. He's known for his like high octane editing and direction. He's known for his cool music cues. One of the more like stylish directors working today, and he is remaking The Running Man. This is an adaptation. This is a remake of the 1987 film starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, the same name, as well as the short story. I believe it's a short story by Stephen King. This film follows Ben Richards, played by Glenn Powell. Him and his wife have fallen on hard times. He has lost his job because he did something that was where he was accused of doing something really, really sketchy and really criminal, but really he was just trying to expose the company that he works for, and he was trying to get a job. He can't because no company really trusts him that he's just going to go along. So in order to make ends meet, in order to get money, he decides to apply for this game show called The Running Man. There are a ton of game shows in this like dystopian future where essentially you do these really ridiculous things for money, and The Running Man is the most ridiculous and the most extreme of them all. You are given a month to survive out in this city where you have to try to avoid getting killed. Everyone in the city's job is to report if they see you, and if you can survive all 3 days, you end up winning $1 billion. No one has ever done it. Ben Richards is one of the angriest competitors that CEO of the game, Daniel, played by Josh Brolin, thinks he truly does believe he can do it. So he sends Ben Richards off into this game, and it is up to Ben to see if he can survive in order to get back to his family. I really enjoy that 80s film. I think it's both a lot of fun and just how over the top it gets, while also being like one of the more serious like Arnold Schwarzenegger movies. At the same time, I thought this was a story that could be really well adapted to a remake, especially in a 2025 world where reality TV and ridiculous game shows are all the rage. I was really excited to see what Edgar Wright and Glenn Powell could do with this film, and I thought, and that really only makes it unfortunate for me to say. I don't think this. Not only do I not think this movie compares that favorably to that original Running Man film, I think it is probably Edgar Wright's weakest film thus far. This is a film watching it where he is taking away a lot of his editing styles, taking away a lot of his like directing styles. He's trying to make a much more like straightforward action film, and I honestly really applaud him for that. I get that when you are a director, you feel like and you are known for your idiosyncrasies. I know I might have totally just made up a word. There comes a point where you might want to break away from that, and I appreciate that Edgar Wright wanted to do that, but I think this movie is a failure for a number of reasons, and I'll be explaining those here. I think the strangest thing about the film is that while Edgar Wright is trading in his directorial trademarks, this movie feels honestly just kind of low energy. Like, when I think about that Schwarzenegger movie, I think of a lot of high octane action. I think of these really colorful characters. The color palette on this one is very gray, very like very just sort of like washed out. Everything is very like slicked, like slick black, slick silver. Nothing really like pops color wise and is trying to like get your attention. Which I guess you could say is maybe Edgar Wright trying to make a commentary of like, look how commercial the future has become. Look how oversaturated, how art has just completely exited these people's lives, and we are just seeing product after product after product. But it just makes for a boring looking film to watch. A lot of the film is just watching Glenn Powell walk or run from place to place, just trying to avoid getting caught. While that does sound fun, I think you need a lot of energy in order to make that interesting. And the tension of this film never really feels like you are at like you are at a high in any sense of the word, which is crazy because this movie is an R rating. It does go for it violence wise. We see that due to Ben Richards' actions, people are dying because when the hunters are out on the street, they are allowed to commit casualty in order to take down the Ben Richards and the two other people that are competing in the game. But yeah, it's strange that for a movie where it's just like you're watching this character try to survive for a month on end, you rarely ever feel like the tension that I think this movie wants from this story to give you. Glenn Powell plays Ben Richards. He's an actor I really enjoy. I've loved him since I believe Everybody Wants Some was the first time I saw him in. He was the person that played Hangman in Top Gun Maverick. I think he's really great there. I thought he was really fun in Twisters. Hitman last year, I absolutely loved it. He's just one of those actors that I think is like an excellent movie star in the making, and I think like we can really sell movies on him, and he can be the face of that. And I can tell that he is someone that wants to be treated like an old school classic movie star, and him being in this movie makes sense. And while I wouldn't say he's bad, and while you're never like rooting against him in any way, I think he was a little miscast with the way the character is written. When we meet Ben Richards, he is bitter, he is angry, he is cussing at authority, he is always pissed off, he is tired, and I don't think Glenn Powell portrays the like, like certain people are going to root for this guy, but most people are just going to be pissed off because of how angry this guy is. Glenn Powell just seems like a weird choice for that because he's just a guy that you just instinctively want to root for, which works for the ending of the film. But towards the middle of the film, where you're supposed to like see how the audience sees of like see what the audience sees of like, why should we be rooting for this guy? This guy seems like an asshole. He seems like he's just selfish, just in it for the money. We never really get that as an audience member, and I think that was just a little. I just wanted a little more from him. I appreciate him for taking where he's like not the most likable in the world, but don't know that. But I don't quite think it quite paid off. Honestly, watching this film, I think Austin Butler, if you saw Caught Stealing or Elvis or Dune Part 2, he played Fade Rautha. I think Austin Butler personally would have been a better casting choice for this film. I rarely ever have that experience watching a movie where I'm like, it would be better if you casted this actor in the film. But this is definitely one time where I was like, I think if you would have casted someone else other than Glenn Powell, I think they could have done a slightly better job. Even though he's not bad, he just feels a little out of place in this film. I will say the movie has a very stacked supporting cast, and most of them are pretty good to actually really good. I think the easy standout is Coleman Domingo as the Running Man announcer, Bobby T. Coleman Domingo, like Rosamund Pike in Now You See Me, Now You Don't. No accent this time. But Coleman Domingo is having the time of his life playing this flamboyant and just over the top announcer that's whole job is just to get like the audience to just get them so invested in this game, gets them to root against these Running Man contestants, to get them to root for the hunters that are killing him. He like his whole job is just like he wants to make you root for violence, and Coleman Domingo does such a good job of just like being so high energy and just being so like he is someone you absolutely love in this movie, even though he's playing a very terrible guy that's clearly just in it for the paycheck, but is willing to make people cheer for the worst things just so that way he can be famous. And I think Coleman Domingo does a phenomenal job in this film. He is becoming one of those actors where I'm just like, when is Coleman Domingo bad? And I genuinely don't think he has given a performance I don't like, even though he's been in a couple movies I didn't like. He has never been an issue, and once again, this is an excellent performance from him. But yeah, Josh Brolin is good. William H Macy plays a colleague of Ben Richards. He's pretty solid in the movie. There's a really fun scene towards the center of the movie where Ben Richards, it's not really explained how he knows this character, but he runs into Michael Cera, who plays this person who is essentially quietly protesting the new totalitarian government because his dad was killed by the soldiers that now run America, essentially. And Michael Cera plays this like character that is like clearly like a powder keg waiting to go off. His scene was great, and I wish we had more stuff like that. That's where the energy feels really like high in a way. We have a scene where he kills all these characters via electrocution. We have this when Ben goes to this house, the grandmother wants to report him, and she's like super over the top. I love that scene. That was really the only scene I really like enjoyed. Everything else just feels like mediocre, just kind of bad. But I'll just say if there's one actor that I think is actually kind of giving a pretty rough performance, mainly because I just think her character is just like really just kind of unnecessary and feels kind of underwritten, is Amelia Jones as Amelia Williams. Oh, look, Amelia playing Amelia. Look at that. She plays like this very like vapid realtor that Ben meets in the third act of the film when he's on like the last week of the game show. He ends up taking this character as like a hostage in order to stay off from the hunters. And she is giving such an over the top and just feeling like she's like it's like this movie that's been like low energy and just sort of like bored the entire time. Suddenly this character feels like she'd be like she'd feel in at home in like The Boys or at home in like a Terry Gilliam movie with how over the top and how she's supposed to be like, oh, I'm the pompous rich 1%er and I am the one that clearly hates Ben Richards, even though we've seen his whole struggle at this point. So she's supposed to be like, oh, she's the outsider looking in now at this character. And the parts where she's supposed to be like really scared because when Ben does take her hostage, she's very frightened. We eventually learn that Ben doesn't really have any intention on killing her, and when that happens, she's immediately like, well, no, I want to fight for your cause. So like the character, it feels like there were some weird character details that were missing. Movie is really weirdly paced, where like there are points where it feels like we are really taking its time to get the plot moving, and then there are certain aspects like the ending of the film that we will get to, where it feels like this ending is wrapped up in 5 minutes, where it feels like we needed like 20 minutes at least to sink our teeth into it. This is an aspect of like her character's an aspect of the movie that I feel like certain things must have been cut out because it just feels so bare and just so underwritten and just like honestly just feels kind of amateurish in the way in the commentary Edgar Wright is going for here. One of the aspects that once again the personality of this film is just absolutely stripped away is the hunters that are hunting down Ben Richards. Like we are introduced these 5 main hunters that are like the ultimate killers, that their whole purpose is they are the villains in these games and they are there to hunt down the contestants that are running away. You could have done so much with these characters in the original Running Man movie. They are like these cool like video game-esque villains. They have these really cool costumes. All of them have really fun like weapons and colors to them. Once again, there's one guy that wears a mask, and the other 4 are just 4 nameless soldiers. And like Edgar Wright could have done a really good job at just giving all these villains like these cool, unique personalities. Maybe give them their own like maybe not necessarily give them their own motives, because like that could be doing a lot. But like the fact that you have a team of villains, which is one of the most fun things that you can do in a narrative, and I don't really remember any of them, that is an issue. And you could have done so much with like their really cool abilities, their character traits, and I just think the fact that you have 5 characters that are essentially serve as some of our main antagonists, and we don't really care about any of them, just because the one main antagonist is the rich CEO capitalist viewpoint. I was just honestly a little disappointed with that. If I've already sort of teased it. Without spoiling it, I need to talk about the ending, because watching this movie, I was like, okay, it's not a movie I love, but at the end of the day, it is filmed well. There are some fun performances. There's nothing I quite hate. There's just like an absence of good. Can I really call this like a bad movie? The ending, I think, is genuinely terrible, because it tries to fit what should be like 20 minutes worth of material with what it's trying to do into like 5 whole minutes. And without saying anything, it seems like the commentary goes from like semi-smart commentary about how we are giving ourselves to cheap, mindless entertainment, how we don't really care about what's happening outside as long as we are entertained by what we're seeing on our screens. And it essentially just sort of turns that into the easiest way I can say it is go watch an Adam McKay movie, and that's where the commentary goes. If you've seen Don't Look Up, if you've seen Vice, you kind of know just how obvious and in your face the commentary is, and just how the ending happens, where we are watching a riot inside of the Running Man headquarters. I was just sort of rolling my eyes, not necessarily because I disagreed with what it was saying, not because I thought that was inherently bad, but because the movie had like reached such a natural conclusion. It would have ended on a really heavy note, but I think it would have been ended in a really smart way. But we have this riot scene, and then we have like an emotional, heart-tugging scene at the end, and I'm just like, this movie's trying to have way too much with its ending. It tries to overcomplicate things with its epilogue, and I just found that so unnecessary. And watching this ending, I was on the fence of like, do I really think this is like a bad movie? Is this just kind of mediocre? Like because it does do some things right. No, watching that ending, I was like, no, this movie does fail on a whole front, and I think it just really reinforced the things I didn't like about the film. If I were to rate this movie on a scale of 0 to 10 videotapes, I'm gonna give it, and it sucks with how much. I'll be honest, I'm gonna give it a 4.85. I think this is honestly a pretty bad movie. It's easily the weakest Edgar Wright film I've seen. I really love his other movies. I love Hot Fuzz. I love Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. I love The World's End. I am a defender of Last Night in Soho. I know that was one of his more polarizing movies, but I actually really, really enjoyed that movie. This one just did not do it for me, and in no way watching this film do I have any reason to watch this over the original 80s film, if this story sounds interesting, go watch that movie. I still think it's a pretty fun movie. Definitely a product of its time. Definitely feels like it came out in 1987. But this one to me was not a successful remake in how it updated the story for 2025. But yeah, thank you all for watching this week. Remember to like this video and subscribe to the video store. It really helps grow our channel a lot. Next week, we are going to be reviewing Wicked for Good, the follow-up, and obviously the conclusion to the Wicked story, as well as I believe I'm going to try to go see Jake Kelly, the new Noah Baumbach movie. Pretty excited for both those. Excited to talk about those with all of you. Thank you all for tuning in, and as always, watch more movies.
And the award for most vapid film review of the century goes to...
Yeah, movie review. Okay, I thought it was beauty.
And he's now in cinema hell, where one day we'll all be reunited.
This is me at the Regal Cinema crying as I did through much of the film.